Hello, I'm Craig Hill with CNA Technology, and I'll be presenting with John Johnson today. And our topic is enabling universal UDC values, user-defined code values, across a multi-company platform on the same database instance. So everybody's in together. So if you've worked with large implementations of JD Edwards, I've often done that, and UDC values, it's like different divisions or branches or warehouses, they would like to have their own UDCs unique to them. Sometimes you don't want them to, but other times you need to let them do that. So I'm going to talk about that need that arose at one of our customers, and John designed a solution to that dilemma. So I'm going to start.
Hello, everybody.
Presentation. Go ahead, John.
Welcome to the INFOCUS meeting on enabling universal UDC values across multi-company platform on the same instance. I'm a JD Edwards professional with 20 plus years experience, specializing in those solutions across order to cash and distribution, manufacture to order, inventory, advanced pricing, and also a designer of the UDCs by company. This is Craig.
And I'm Craig Hill. I'm an application architect on JD Edwards. I have a lot of experience doing JD Edwards. I lead solution delivery for CNA Technology.
The new JD Edwards enhanced functionality for distribution manufacturing industry to standardize user-defined codes across a universal instance. The reduction of and proliferation of user-defined codes that need to be identical in design yet meaningful by description and function by companies in the same instance. We have three main objectives. The first objective is to understand the complexities and restrictions of the standard user-defined code schema. Objective 2, demonstrate the flexibility of a UDC system that incorporates the company number as part of the unique key on the table file /file. Objective 3, demonstrate the positive impact to configuration of an increased UDC capacity. Objective 1, we need to understand the complexity and restrictions of the standard user-defined code schema. The complexities include a first-come, first-served use strategy when you have multiple companies on a single instance. Generally, the first company that's on board selects their user-defined codes, such as in the sales reporting and purchasing reporting codes, finance codes, manufacturing user-defined codes. Once they select them, they define them. They either accept or change the descriptions to meet their needs. Then the next company comes on board in a multi-company installation on the same instance, and they need to use the same code. They would like to use the same code, but the description doesn't meet their needs. Their same code logically would have a different description for that company. So the restrictions are based on a single definition description for a single user-defined code. Sometimes the code length as defined in the data dictionary then becomes subject to change as an organization grows in the system. In other words, also, user-defined codes then do not become big enough or large enough when you have the smaller defined codes, such as a 2-character, 3-character code. Organizations then wish to change the definition in the data dictionary to increase the code length so that they could use a single code but add either a prefix or suffix to that code, such as if a unit of measure code for container or carton might be CN, but that's already used, so now they make it a CN1 or CN2, and so forth. Commonality of user-defined codes and standardization become difficult to control as the variations grow. The flexibility of a user-defined system that incorporates the company number as part of the unique key of the table and file. What was created was a custom table that we could then load the standard user-defined code as they are built in the system out of box into this custom table, such as you see in front of you, system code 41, user-defined code S1, which is SRP1, the sales category code 1, order company 1, order company 205 with blanks for default. And then, as you can see below, company 1 has defined the description as diamond for the same code, and company 205 in the user-defined code has defined it as ruby, all sales category code 1. In the standard system, the first come, first serve approach would have said that company 1 would have had that code set as diamond, and company 205, when it came on board, could not use that same code gem, GEM. They would have to adopt some other type of code or some iteration of that code to make the description equal ruby, and so forth.
So John, it was able to, it's not just by company, but the enhancement was to do it by company and branch plan if you wanted to, and branch plan was optional?
Yes, branch plant was optional. We further added,
Yep.
We thought at the time, if we're going to customize and add this functionality, it could very well be that in company 1, there's a branch plant that wants to use GEM, but identify it as well as something differently. As you can see the description for company 1, branch plant EMEA, the description equals cut stones. Yet for company 1, user-defined code GEM for SRP1 equals diamond. Okay, so we took it down to the branch plant level as well.
Yep.
It was objective number 3. We wanted to demonstrate the positive impact to configuration of an increased user-defined code capacity. The character length no longer becomes a restriction, as codes can be reused, and will have expanded ranges, as the same code can be used and defined separately based on the business application. Logical codes do not need to be changed from the standard code to accommodate additional system growth by company or business unit. Again, the same example below. You can see the same user-defined code in SRP1 is GEM, yet the description has been defined 3 different ways, based on company and based on business unit within a company. Thereby, you do not have to create additional codes, and the necessity or the instance of running out of codes or trying to expand the data dictionary design to accommodate more codes for a specific user-defined code system becomes less and less necessary. Makeup of the team that worked together. Again, as a team, we worked together to develop this. Myself, the system consultant, Evaldas Malinauskas, who was the master keying subject matter expert, and we had an assigned dedicated JDE developer. And the need came out of the custom keying requirements for a very large company that makes custom and high security locks, keys and keying system, locking systems. The complexities and restrictions of the standard user-defined code schema had multiple companies and branch plants coming onto a single instance in the JDE system. As explained earlier, on a first-come, first-served basis, the first company gets to cherry-pick the codes, and all sequentially added companies then have to try to adapt to the codes, either use them or customize them increasing the use of codes, and then possibly changing the actual technical definition of the code length itself. The same UDC code value could not be added and used by a company coming onto the system as it was already taken.
So no room at the end is what you can end up with, huh? No vacancy.
Exactly. I've had, over the 20 plus years of experience, I've had many times user-defined code tables run out of room.
Yeah.
Because there were no more iterations to be had. It generally happens in the smaller defined codes, the 2 and 3 character codes, but it can happen in the 4, 5, and 6 character codes as well. Why we did this? Because selected UDCs for the custom application, we had to have duplicate values across companies that could not be changed. In high security locking systems across companies, it was required that we use the same code, but had to define it differently, such in what would be a stamping code that had a defined code, but the definition, which may have been used to integrate with a third-party stamping system, had to be different, or the characterization of that stamp had to be different, but the code had to be the same. And that's why we built the custom table for the UDC, keyed by company and, if need be, by a business unit as well within a company. I must say that we did not modify the standard UDC tables and logic. One of the main reasons for that was, at the time we did this, the system, the instance was at least 8 or 9 years mature already and had many different companies on the system. We thought of doing the regression testing, and at that point determined that it would be too extensive at that time to go back and change all the user-defined codes and standardize all the user-defined codes in 10 plus different companies that were already on the system for 8 or 9 years. So we developed a separate code table, which then would allow us to cherry pick those user-defined codes, whether they be standard or the custom codes, custom system codes in system 55 through system 59, and load them into the table.
So you just had it in certain places of the system that it was by company and branch plant, but we didn't touch these 4 tables, the F004 and the 4D and the 5 and the 5D.
No,
good.
We did not.
Yep.
We did, however, take table user-defined codes as defined in those tables, and we moved them into the custom table so that we then could make certain codes universal across different companies.
So it was mostly in the area of master keying
Yes.
of locks, which was specific to the industry of that customer, is where the collisions were happening.
That was the collision.
Yep.
Yes, that was the area that the business requirement that caused us to go in this direction. What did we do? We had our use cases. We allowed the same code to have 2 different meanings between different companies and or branch plants. We allowed uniqueness as companies were added to the single instance system. We provided additional quantity of available UDC values, and we allowed a UDC value to be the same and shared across companies and branch plants. We provided consistency, thus being standardization within the system for user-defined codes. And we did not create an overpopulation of codes that then become very unmanageable in terms of the size of the system. How long did it take? Well, we did our requirements definition, approximately 3 months till we brought the coding system into production. We did a very extensive requirements definition. We went into a conceptual design and a work session. We proposed and got approval from the steering committee and the technical committee. We put together a detailed design so that it would be repeatable. We built and tested and validated our design, again received final approval, and then put it through deployment through the different SDLC cycles. We started in the development environment, brought it through the test environment, UAT, and then finally promoted it to production. And once we got it into UAT, if there were any refinements, we refined it, and then it was finally deployed successfully within approximately 3 months.
Okay, thanks, John, for going through that. That's
well, at this
something
point,
always.
If there are any questions?
Yeah. There's a QA tab here. I'm going to go over that and see if there's any questions that are going to come in. I always wanted to have UDCs by company. Sometimes you don't want to, right? Because you want a code like a reason code or something to be maybe universal, so you can see like tooling problems all over the company that might be similar, and share information and problem resolution, root cause and things. But other times it's like, no, we really needed to be by plant or division or company. Right. So
this, yes. Using user-defined codes by company also lends itself to another area in the system, which later on may get developed, putting company keys in other significant control areas of the system, configuration areas of the system. But this was very successful.
Yep.
Worked well. And again, made the system more efficient, more usable, more customer friendly, because codes became standardized.
Thanks, John. Good presentation. So these last few slides are the standard Quest slides, some information about Quest for individuals and for companies. And then the last slide has our contact information for me if you want more information. And also has the session number if you want to provide some feedback and do an evaluation. So thank you very much. Okay, I think we're done.